in different sequences, especially in the hallway. The hallway is the main scene where he's fighting.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Today we have a special episode because we are covering Tenet. And Tenet is a movie that came out back in 2020 and kind of suffered from the production, suffered in release, I guess, in numbers because of COVID-19. That was the time of people not really going out and going to the theater, and this was one of those movies like right when it hit, so it was like Tenet though is getting re-released into the theaters this today, as you see. And we wanted to cover it because this movie's crazy. This is directed by Christopher Nolan, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah,
not really a myth.
Chris Nolan is amazing. This movie is really, really well done. It's a lot to unpack because there is a lot going on in this movie.
It is a lot. I'm still trying to understand it. I've only seen it this one time, so we just watched it for this episode. Now, before we get into this episode, I'd like to remind everybody to hit that like and subscribe button down below. Go follow us on our socials, Instagram and X. And if you want to help us even more, go to patreon.com/thecalvincam. Really helps us get bigger and better, and it goes a long way. So yeah, that being said, getting right back into the Tenet review. Let me just give you a quick summary that I have in front of me here. Armed with only the word Tenet and fighting for the survival of the entire world, CIA operative, the protagonist, journeys through a twilight world of international espionage and global mission that unfolds beyond real time. Which, that summary, it's funny that that's like the main summary that we've been given, but it doesn't even tell you what this movie's really like. This movie is a lot to unpack. So this review is going to be very interesting. And you know, first of all, I just want to start with we'll start with the production side of things. The cinematography for this movie is incredible. As usual, Christopher Nolan always knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to making movies. He is definitely a modern day GOAT. And I think that he pretty much, you know, used all of his skills that we've seen throughout the course of his filmography, in his directing, that this is just another great movie to put in that category, in that list. Cinematography is fantastic.
It's fantastic in so many ways. Like the time portrayal as it reverses time, like the way it's shot, just like as people are moving forward and people are rewinding, like in synchronicity, like it seems with that. And it's done in several scenes at the beginning, the end. You also have the fight choreography with John David Washington when he fights himself in different sequences, especially in the hallway. The hallway is the main scene where he's fighting, and you see that nice, beautiful cinematography of reverse and forward and reverse. Yeah.
No, that part, like right off the bat, like it's really trippy and it's really, really well done. It's impressive. This movie also stars Robert Pattinson, who we know from Twilight, and we know as he's the new Batman. And it also stars Elizabeth Debicki and a couple other really big names, like Michael Caine. Love Michael Caine. It's great to see him again in another Christopher Nolan movie. He's pretty much in them all, which is funny. And plus, he's just like one of the greatest actors ever. As well as one of the main antagonists, Kenneth Branagh, who we saw directed a bunch of other movies, and we know him more recently as Hercule Poirot. I can never say the name, from Murder on the Orient Express, Death in the Nile, and of Haunting in Venice. He is a fantastic director, actor, writer, etc. I've learned so much about him recently, ever since we covered the Thor episode. So I was like shocked to see him, and I was like, oh my God, it's Kenneth Branagh. So it's really cool. Acting is great. The dialogue and the writing of this film is insane. It's so deep. There's a lot going on, and a lot of information thrown at you, and just like it's not that it's so much hard to like understand and get. It's just a whole lot's going on. You're thrown into the way that this world kind of works with a lot of like mechanical information, and it's a lot to digest. So.
It is a lot to digest, but I still think that the chemistry between John David Washington and Robert Pattinson through those sequences, it's presented in a way where if you go back to watch this film, you'll be able to get it. Like, I think it's good and done in that way. And John David Washington, what a great job he did in this movie. He also is known for The Creator. It's an episode that we did way back. And he's really good in that movie. He's just a good actor.
He's a great actor. He's also in Black Klansman, which is phenomenal. That's a phenomenal movie, and I would love to like tackle that at some point. But yeah, he is a great actor. I'm very happy with the entire casting of this movie. The action of this movie is a trip. Christopher Nolan knows how to do his action. We've seen all the Batman movies. They're great. Inception, we saw how he does his choreography and stuff in those movies or in that movie. And the Tenet is just another prime example of like the kind of stunts that Christopher Nolan can direct. And I think that it's great, especially I wouldn't say so. It's not so much that this movie is based off of like time travel or like it's time manipulation, but it's not even like saying that is not even doing it justice. Like it's not time manipulation. It's just there are it's a lot. It's hard for me to even like talk about this movie. But there's machines basically that can make objects or people reverse time, like reverse the flow of time on these objects or people while staying in the same consistent time as time's moving forward. So in the same space, time can be moving forward on an object and also backwards on another object, and it all within the same time. See, it sounds confusing even just saying
and not
it.
to mention you have the story around it too. You have Elizabeth Debicki's character as Kat, and she's having issues with her husband, which is the Russian oligarch.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah. And she's wanting to make sure her son's safe. So it's just like you have that, and then you have this whole Russian espionage thing. Like it's a lot to take in.
It's a lot. It's a 2.5 hour long movie too. Like it's not a short film. And it's just, a lot of information. I don't know, like I wanted to review this movie, but I don't want to give it away because I think this is a movie that I need to watch not only more times, but I think that anybody going forward, I highly recommend it. It's fantastic, and it's a beautiful, beautiful film. But I also think that this is a movie you can't watch once. This is a movie you have to watch multiple times.
You have to watch this multiple times, but it's worth it.
I wonder what this movie would look like in reverse. It'd probably work. It'd probably be cool. Like Memento. Let's see. Let's just go for the reviews of this movie. What would you rate this movie?
This movie's a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
It's one of those Chris Nolan movies that you can't really pass up. You have to actually watch it. It was kind of detrimental that it happened to fall out, and I'm glad that it's going back into the theater since the COVID kind of derailed it a little bit.
Yeah.
The music, I forgot to talk about the music.
Yes.
Like it's really got those high tones, like within the action sequences. We have those. We have the beautiful just cinematography of Christopher Nolan. We already know what he does. There was shots in there, like, remember the shots where it was just red and blue in that one sequence, and those shots are just elegantly shot. So you have the cinematography, the fight choreography is so good, the music is good, the story is really good, but it's like I said, it's a lot to take in, and you have to watch this movie again. Other than that, this movie's phenomenal. I like this movie.
Yeah. I would also give this movie a 4 out of 5 stars. I think that it's definitely another great work of Christopher Nolan. It's definitely not his best, but it's not bad. Like, I'm not saying just because it's not his best, it's a bad movie. No, it's really a great movie. And I'm not going to reiterate everything that we just said, because obviously I feel the same way. So, yeah, 4 out of 5. Highly recommend, and go in expecting to digest a lot of information. So
it's not one of those movies you put in before you go to bed. You'll fall asleep and you'll have to just say, crap, I have to rewatch this whole movie.
Literally.
Yeah.
But it's got some great sequences, and I think that those alone are worth checking out. Let us do some fun facts for this movie now.
I'm actually intrigued about the fun facts.
So, fun facts. Here we go. The production team purchased and then crashed a real 747 airplane into a hangar. So that was a real thing.
Really? I thought that scene was super awesome.
It's crazy. The stunt was all practical effects with no visual effects or CGI. Christopher Nolan is known to be doing that. He did that with Oppenheimer. He did no CGI. Like,
didn't he do the same thing with just no special effects, just real time props, like for Interstellar with the cornfield thing?
Yeah, he did Interstellar with the cornfield. He did what you would call it, like the tumbler scenes in the Batman movies. Like, he did those with miniatures, and like, that's amazing. Like, as minimal a special effects as he can do, he does. So it says director Chris Nolan had originally planned to use miniatures and set piece builds. However, while scouting for location in Victorville, California, the team discovered a massive array of old planes, and it became apparent that it would actually be more efficient to buy a real plane of the real size and perform the sequence for real on camera than doing miniatures. That's crazy.
Unbelievable, Chris. Unbelievable, Chris Nolan.
That's awesome. So there was much secrecy surrounding the project before its release. Actor Robert Pattinson said that he was only allowed to read the script in a locked office at Warner Bros. Studios. His co-star, Sir Michael Caine, wasn't even allowed to read the entire screenplay. He was given his scenes only to read before shooting. Prior to the movie's release, Caine told press that he had no idea what the film was about, despite being a very close friend and frequent collaborator with Chris Nolan.
That's really cool and interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because there's some interesting theories on Michael Caine's character. With other characters. So, in addition to performing stunts backwards, the main cast actually learned how to speak in reverse for their roles. Sir Kenneth Branagh not only learned how to speak backwards, but also had to do it with his character's Russian accent.
Wow, that's impressive.
He's amazing.
That's super impressive.
When the coronavirus pandemic hit the United States in spring 2020, the film's score was roughly 80% finished. Sorry. The only thing it really affected was an orchestral session that was scheduled for April. As a result, part of the soundtrack was completed by putting together individual records of the musicians in their homes.
Wow.
Let's see. Actor Sir Kenneth Branagh revealed that he read the screenplay for the film more times than anything he had ever worked on. He compared navigating through the script to doing the Times crossword puzzle every single day.
Wow.
Robert Pattinson stated that he took inspiration for his character's accent, intonation, and mannerisms from English-American author and journalist Christopher Hitchens. Pattinson never uses his real London accent when playing British characters, saying, "For whatever reason, it feels fake to me when I'm using my own accent for a role. If I play myself on screen, I feel like a fraud."
Well, he did a good job in this picture.
He did great.
Oh, man, he was awesome in this movie.
This is the first Christopher Nolan film since The Prestige in 2006 not to be scored by Hans Zimmer. The composer turned Nolan down for the first time in over a decade to score his longtime passion project, Dune. He was replaced by newcomer Ludwig Göransson, who had recently won an Oscar for his work on Black Panther.
Oh, nice.
So,
and like I said, the music in this movie is actually really well done.
But I mean, that's awesome. I didn't know Hans Zimmer was going to do the score for Dune, so I'm really now looking forward to Dune. So, because Hans Zimmer is one of the greatest composers of all time. That's awesome. So, next one. After being offered the lead role in the film, John David Washington read the screenplay in director Christopher Nolan's locked office at Warner Bros. Studio. It took him around 5 hours to finish reading it because he kept flipping back and forth in pure amazement. So, sounds like Warner Bros. Really locked this shit up, especially with Robert Pattinson and John David Washington. So, yeah, there's a lot of fun facts. How about one more?
We'll do one more.
One more. Okay. The scene taking place at the Opera House in Kyiv was actually shot in Tallinn, Estonia, at Lena Hall, a venue that was originally constructed for the 1980 Moscow Olympics, and the Estonia was part of the former Soviet Union. The building hadn't been maintained for at least 10 years, so production designer Nathan Crowley and his team had a lot of work to do before shooting began. They rebuilt the stage, polished this concrete, and also rebuilt some of the outside walls. Additionally, they had to repair the doors and replace a large amount of glass and deal with the audience seating and carpets. So basically, they just renovated the entire building.
Damn.
That's
Christopher Nolan. He's specific on what he wants, though.
Yeah. It had a production budget of $205 million. So it's his most expensive original film.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah, go check out Tenet. It's cool. It's back in the theaters. Go check it out. Yeah, let us know what you think. Get a hold of us on our socials. Love to talk to you guys about it.
Yeah, and we'll catch you on the next episode. See you later.
Thank you all so much for tuning into the Calvin Cam podcast. We appreciate you all so very, very much. And, if you like us, hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps us out, as well as you can go over to our social media platforms like Instagram or X and follow us over there. We like to communicate and build our community up, as well as you could also go to patreon.com/thecalvincam and join one of our 3 tiers that we offer. We offer a couple of different benefits per tier, and it's good stuff, and it would really, really help us, and we'd really appreciate it, of course. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you later.